Okay, thank you for being patient. Welcome to the live stream. And today's topic is all about long COVID potentially causing autoimmunity. Now, data has been around for a while, and I'm going to dig into that and explore a little bit more. But coming up now in this video, I'm going to cover Hashimoto's and the Graves' link specifically. Of course, one autoimmune condition. Also going to cover early signs of autoimmunity link. I'm going to cover about, could it potentially be vaccine? What's the data showing there? And is that it? And of course, I'm going to cover solutions. You're watching this, you're thinking, geez, I've got autoimmunity, I've got long COVID, whatever it is. I just need solutions, and that's what I want to give you. But I want to set the scene first and go over what does the data really show. Now, let me click this screen next. So first of all, I'm going to dive into this article from Frontiers. It's quite recent, and it's talking specifically about TPO positive, that's anti-thyroid autoimmunity markers. But before we get into that, what is long COVID? I've been over this in several videos and you're probably quite aware of it as well. But what I want to show you is that there's a crossover of autoimmunity and long COVID because there's such an array of different signs and symptoms, common ones, brain fog, inflammation, joint pain, heart issues, sleep issues, cognitive decline, and it goes on and on. What about autoimmunity? Similar crossovers there. Could it be one causing the other, or could it be that predisposition for autoimmunity? I'm going to squash it all down and say it doesn't really matter. I just know you want to get better, and I want to shed a light on that holistic naturopathic overview of treatment as well. There are so many videos out there, and this is what really breaks my heart, is zooming into a finite, like what is the one solution, what is the cause? But I want to wind you out 50,000 view over the top, looking at the whole of your body, and that naturopathic view of how do you get better looking at all those components. So sure, the brain fog is there, sure the sleep issues are there, but what can you do to address those and just get better? It doesn't matter so much about a label. So let's dive into this article right here. I've highlighted a few bits through it, but as I said, this is showing a link to long COVID and a raised amount of anti-TPO positive markers after COVID. And this article is quite interesting because it looks at post-vaccination. Now, I'm going to get into that a little bit later, but the article investigates why some people got long COVID and after 23 months of having COVID. Now, they looked at nurses, I believe, and it was nurses. It was a relatively small group of people, 27 and 24, I believe, two groups, and they'd all had the COVID vaccination. Some had recovered and some just didn't, and thus the long COVID. So what this article showed is their immune system showed that T cell response against SARS-CoV-2 protein, the spike protein, was really elevated. And then they also did the autoimmune markers, and they found the biggest link: 79% of long COVID people had high levels of those markers. So they were suffering from autoimmunity in their thyroid. And the other group that had mostly recovered and were in convalescence was 18.5%. They still had autoimmune markers, but they were considered mostly recovered. Other antibodies they looked at were linked to lupus or clotting, and they were rare in both cases, but they did look at blood sugar levels. There's a marker called HbA1c, diabetics get that, and it was actually raised a bit. So this article said long COVID post COVID-19, extremely complex. That's what I touched on, and the pathology is extremely complex, as you'll probably find in you if you're suffering from long COVID, and at a complete loss, because one practitioner may say, oh, it seems to be nothing, it seems to be maybe sleep issues, and minimize it, but there's a lot going on in your body, definitely inflammation. As I said, 51 healthcare workers. Quite a key point is they all had vaccine. Now this image right here from this article shows back in 2021 they had their first vaccines. They had again a booster shot, and then 24 months later, that's when they had the blood draw post-vaccination. Could it be that that's causing it? We'll get into that a little bit later. So what did the results show? They showed, yes, this is triggering autoimmunity. And I believe this one is talking about the next one talks about molecular mimicry. But these two groups, females were predominant. There was only one male that didn't develop it. These guys